All right, Playdemic announced today there's going to be a new tournament, and it's going to be the Clifftop Links tournament. So grab your pen and paper, hit pause, and they've listed the holes, but you know they give you such a small shot at it. It's sometimes really hard to see. So I kind of went through and seen what tournaments that these have been in and trying to put together a little playlist. I am short some holes. These holes have all been in the South Coast. All the White Cliffs were in the South Coast tournament. So we've got some White Cliff holes and some Nahami Cliffs. And those particular holes, last time they were in a tournament was in the Club Oceana and the Creepy Cliffs tournaments. And I played both those tournaments, but I did not record them. So the last two tournaments, the Nahami Cliffs were in the Club Oceana and the White Cliffs were in the South Coast. I finished second and third in those, so hopefully I can get back on with what they have right here. So hole number 1 in the Clifftop Links is going to be from White Cliffs, and it's going to be hole 6, and it is a par 4. And this particular hole right here, and I will post a video for this, but this hole was in South Coast, and it was hole number 6. And what we're doing here is we were bouncing off from this area, getting out into here, trying to end up in our rapier or very short iron range coming at the hole. It's a very difficult green. And let me tell you some stuff about this green. See all this little pixelation that's in here, all down here? That is a straight hill run. And you might as well bring your snow sled, because if you hit and you roll off in this direction, you are going into the sand. It is brutal. And it takes very little adjustment to stay up here to try and get it in the hole, but the goal is to be right down here in this mouth. Now I know I think I was using a big topper and coming out in this area with a Titan or a Kingmaker, one of the two. I think it was a Kingmaker just for the curl, and then trying to end up out in this area. Now there is another way that you can come at this. You can come at it and try and go, let me pull back here so you can see the tee box. So from the tee box area, you can come out here and try and bring it around. The problem with this is that it's hard to get. You can't get the same, even though it's a cleaner shot, you can't get this, and you're not even going to get close. You know, if you can get halfway down in here, and you're almost relegating yourself to a long iron shot, as opposed to trying to get down here and you're guaranteed short iron, possibly wedge. So I'll post the video on this, and if you played in the South Coast tournament, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But our goal is to get down into this area. As the week goes on, I'll go through and watch my videos and go through my notes and pull out my notes for these tournaments and try and get a really good note list going into Monday's practice round. So that was hole number 1. Hole number 2 is also going to be from White Cliffs, and hole number 2 was hole 7 in the South Coast tournament. So let's see here. So that's hole 7 here as well. This is a par 3. All right. And I am 100% sure here we were bouncing into this area trying to bring it up. And I cannot remember any of the stuff. I'm just going to go through today. I haven't really looked. I'm just trying to get it out there so you guys know what to look for. So if you're playing in these tours, you'll know which holes that you really want to kind of bring out the stops on and practice. But this hole here is definitely, there's a really good shot on this hole. This hole plays pretty decent. Landing in front of the sand out here and then trying to bring it in. Hole number 3. So hole number 2 of the Clifftop Links is going to be hole number 7 at White Cliffs. And hole number 3 at the Clifftop Links, let me get into up here. Hole number 3 is going to be hole 6, par 5. Hole 6, par 5. Is that right? No, that's hole 5. Hole 6, par 5. There we go. No, that's still not right. Hole 9, par 5. If I could read my own notes. We're pretty much looking at the white line here. Okay, this black line is, or excuse me, the yellow line is very tough. It's a very low. It is tough to get out here and make the chasm, and to get on this little island to get out here is tough. what you're going to want to do is you have to bring a big ball, first of all. And it doesn't matter which division you're in, you want to get as far up here as you possibly can. And you're going to have to bring a big ball, and you're going to want to bring a big club, because the shot from there to get onto the green is quite the shot. So if you're back in this area right here, even if you brought a big ball and a big club, you may not be able to make this move over here. Now what you can do, if you have to take a max overpower shot onto this green, is you can come up higher up here and you can apply some backspin. And that way, if you hit it great to the left or the right, you're still on this, and try and dribble down this cliff face and get onto the green. Ideally, if you're far enough in there and you brought a big enough club and a big enough ball, you could actually start on this side. You cannot make the bounce over. So you're not going to be able to come out here and then bounce it over. That's not going to happen. If you want to get on the green, you're going to have to start off on this side. But if you're short and your red line's in this area right here and you're trying to do a max shot, then what I'm going to do if I find myself in this position is put on max backspin, use max overpower, try and hit a little bit farther up on the hillside, and use curl to bring it back down to the hole. Now there is an out of bounds up here. And I have tried this hole I have tried hitting this where I've tried to hit it way up here and tried to bring it down, and it's tough. And there is an out of bounds. I've had it a couple times where I actually made it through all the trees and ended up here, but I was still out of bounds. So you can come up a little bit higher and then try and bring it back down to the cup by using backspin and side spin and curl. Ideally, you'd be in enough distance that you could come over here and you could kind of go straight out the hole. This hole on this green is tough. It's a tough hole to get the ball to drop, especially if you're coming out here to the left. The further out you go to the left, the more the ball wants to go to the right. Trying to come out a little bit from the right and bringing the ball back to the left might actually be your best shot. But we'll find out more as the week goes on and we get to play this hole a little bit more. I'll do some demos on it. So that was hole number 3. Hole number 4 of the Clifftops tournament is going to be Nahamie Cliffs, and it's going to be hole 5, par 3. And this is another one of those holes. There's a few par 3s in this game that are not my favorites, and this is one of them. And the reason that this is one of the reasons is that you're up here and you're hitting down to this thing and it comes up, and so when you're trying to scroll down, you're trying to get right to the ball guide. On some holes, you can get so close you can see the individual blades of grass. You can't get that close on this one. So when you're making a wind adjustment, and ideally you want to bring in a really accurate club, and when you're making a wind adjustment, the rings are so small, it's really hard to make really good wind adjustments here because you can't get close enough to it. But this hole takes very little adjustment. If I remember correctly, we're going to be playing this with a Hornet, and it takes very little adjustment, but it's very easy to find yourself clipping the rough right here. And you're going to see a lot of people, especially at the beginning of the week when they're trying to learn the hole, end up clipping the rough here. It also, if you overshoot it, it will take a wild ride. And you do not want to be down here trying to make that birdie putt or that birdie chip. So it's best to be like just a little beyond the hole or in front of it here. In this area, you're going to have a pretty decent shot. But if I do remember correctly, it is a short iron shot. And these par 3s, I'm never really too concerned about the par 3s at the beginning of the week. The par 3s for me are something that I can continue to work on as the week goes on and try and peak in the weekend round. So like in the last tournament, I didn't do really well on the par 3s all week, and then I ended up holing 1 and 2 of the holes in the weekend round. All right, that was hole number 4. Let's see here. Hole number 5 is going to be, this is in the Clifftop, and it's going to be from the White Cliffs. Let's go back down to White Cliffs, and it's going to be hole 3. All right. Now, I know in the last tournament I was hitting out into this area, and I believe I was using a QB with a pretty good ball, at least probably a Titan. Maybe a Katana. I mean, you can get this done with a Marlin. I was shooting earlier today and got this hole several times. it's a little bit harder to get out here with a marlin. You probably have to go with your extra mile. And I was using a quarterback so that I had a lot of accuracy here, and I was coming into the green with a sniper, and it's a pretty easy shot. Now you can try and get out here and try and get the roll up. The problem with this is that it's fraught with danger. And I see a lot of people end up in the rough out here, and think about what you're working towards. So here's the cup or the tee box. So you're having to work it here, trying to get around, trying to do a little, I mean, it's a difficult shot to get out there. You can land here and get out here, but think about what you worked so hard for. You worked hard to get out here. Yay, and I'm here. Yeah, I got more distance on him. Now look at what you got from the green. You're coming in at it from this angle, and I'm coming in at it from this angle. I have nothing in my way. It's a straight in shot. So you have to choose either to bounce on this side of the sand and bounce over, or you have to come on this side of the sand and backspin it in. And it does drop off on the back of this green, so you don't want to overhit it. All right. That was hole number 5. Let's see, hole number 6. Hole number 6 is going to be from Nahamy Cliffs. Let's go back to Nahamy Cliffs. And that's hole 7, par 4. Hole 7, par 4. This hole right here, I shot this hole today. I posted a couple of videos for it. The first time I came out here and I had a hornet shot and I missed the shot into the green. I was out in this area. I dribbled through the rough here and ended up out here, and you're in your short iron range. The other way you can come here is with a Titan. You can bounce off of this right here and end up right out in front, and you've got a rapier coming in. If you have high enough developed clubs that you can use a 3-power ball and get on this island and try and bring it right here in front, that is exactly what I would do. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because being out here in your wedge range trying to make that eagle is huge. So I'm definitely going to be wanting to come out into this area out here and put it in. I don't think there's any way, there's just no way that you can bounce on this and then get it to come back to the hole. I don't think, it may be possible to get it over there, but a lot of times you're going to end up getting caught in that sand or messing up with these trees. I think our best shot here is to end up right out here in front. If you don't have high enough developed clubs or you don't have any balls, 3-power balls to get it, then this shot out here, and anywhere out here you're going to be in your hornet range. Obviously, if you can make the turn around the corner and end up, the farther forward that you can end up, the more you're going to be getting towards your mid club. So that is definitely desirable. So if you come out into this area, you could apply a little bit of curl and try to bring it on. But the problem is that from where the tee box is and where the end of the run, your first bounce is going to be somewhere in this neighborhood right here. And so you're at the end of the run, and it's hard to bring it around right there at the end. It's pretty much going to be a straight shot coming out. You may be able to eke out a little bit closer to the hole, but those are pretty much your two options there. All right, hole number 7 of the Clifftop links is going to be a White Cliff hole. So let's go back to White Cliff. And it's going to be hole number 2. Is that correct? I believe it is. This is a par 3. It is. Now, if I remember correctly, this is one of the few holes where you will hear these words come out of my mouth. This is probably a great hole for a rocket. And the reason is that a rocket has a lot of backspin. And where our red line is here, this is one of the few holes for rookie that we're actually going to get into our driver. Now you can come back and hit it with a sniper. You can try and bounce off. You can bounce off from back here and bring it in with a sniper. The deal is that I don't really like, it's not so much the first bounce. Hitting out here is not a big deal. Hit a little bit to the left, hit a little bit to the right, you're still good. It's your trajectory on the other side that's the problem. And on both sides we have sand. So I really don't want to dink around with trying to finesse a ball through the narrowest part of the fairway with sand on either side. I'm not really interested in that. I want to start as far forward as I can, and you can get that done with a driver. And with the rocket having as much backspin as it does, you can actually start up farther up here and stop it on the hole. This will be another one of those holes. All the par 3s, I'll be working on them all week, trying to find a spot to wedge my rings. I'll go back and watch my videos. These will be in the south coast and it will also be hole 7 in the south coast. All right, hole number 8 is also going to be one of the White Cliffs, and it is hole number 1. Hole number 1. Now on this hole, this is another one of those holes that's going to be great for a QB. Now you can hit it up here and try and bring it down to the hole, but you have a really good look. If you can get your ball down into here, you have a really good look at it. And so starting up here with your QB and using a side spin ball, if you have them, use a Kingmaker. If you don't, you can use a Katana. And you're going to try and curl that ball to get it to come down and rest down in this area, so you have a short iron into the green, and you have a big mouth here. So if you look at how the fairway is, you're out in this area, you've got a lot of green to work with. So it's a pretty decent shot. If you end up here and you don't get it all, you've got a little bit less green to work with. And I don't think the shot from up here is as good as the shot that you can get from down here, because you're more than likely going to relegate yourself to a long iron if you're shooting the upper shot. All right, that was hole number 8. Hole number 9 of the Clifftop Links is going to be a Nahamie Cliffs. Let's go back to Nahamie Cliffs, and it's going to be hole 8, par 5. And this hole does play, there's other ways to play this hole. So you can do the layup shot out to this area right here, and then coming at it, more than likely you can come out with a sniper. It'll give you a little bit of ball guide down here so that you can try and maneuver your way through. The thing I don't like about that shot is that you're trying to maneuver your way through at the end of the run through a very small area where you have an out of bounds on one side and you have sand on the other. What I normally like to do is there's several other ways to play this as well, where you can try and do a max shot starting off on this side and trying to bring the ball way up here so that you have a shorter shot. The problem with this is that you're going to find yourself in this sand a lot. And you're trying to do an overpower here where you've got a narrow neck right here and you've got out of bounds on both sides. So that's a risky shot, but it can be done. What I normally do, and the other thing you can do too, is you can try and bounce over and you can get your ball guide so that you're just bouncing and dribbling off into this area. I normally try and come at it where I start off on this side and I'm really just trying to end up right there. And I know with a Guardian, I can use a Guardian from this spot and I can try and backspin it onto the hole. This hole right here is going to eat a lot of people's lunch. This was the Creepy Cliffs tournament. This hole was, I believe, hole number 9, hole number 18. I went into the final round looking at probably a top 5 and had hit this shot all week long where I was just going from here, dribbling over to the other sides, being in this spot, hitting my Guardian and getting my eagle and going home. And I clipped the rough right here and got caught up in the rough, and it ruined the round. I went from a top 5 to 19th. So this hole can eat your lunch, and there's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot more people who played this hole. They're going to end up with birdies and pars than they're going to end up with eagles. Well, let's see. It's pretty easy to get an eagle here, but there's not going to be a lot of albatrosses. There's going to be a lot more people getting birdies and a lot more people getting pars than get albatross. So as the week goes on, I will continue to try and I'll make a list of all of the White Cliff holes that I already have from the South Coast tournament, and I will continue to try and pick up these Nahamie Cliff holes in one-on-one play so I can post them. Like I said, I've been playing all day, and I think I got one of the tournament holes. All right, that's just a little quick, brief introduction to the new Clifftop links, and hopefully everybody can catch these holes, and hopefully we'll have a great tournament. Thanks for watching.